My hair is short. I wear a snake-shaped earring, a nose ring, and a single ear stud. I dress in oversized men's clothes, because that's when I feel most comfortable. I don't mind if people think I look masculine. It was the first day of 11th grade. I was eating lunch with my best friend, Sally. She gestured to a boy sitting near us. His name was Henry. Since middle school, everyone had known him as a big bully. To my surprise, I noticed Henry staring at me with a strange smile. I had never spoken to him before, so the rest of that day, whenever he smiled at me, I found it unsettling. No matter where I went, Henry's eyes followed me. When the bell rang for the last class and it was time to go home, I got a call from my dad. He said he had to visit my uncle in the hospital because of cancer. That meant I would be home alone. My mom was working late and my sister was staying at her boyfriend's house. I got off the bus and started walking home. I live in a small town, so the streets are usually empty. But when I passed an alleyway, someone grabbed my arm and yanked me to the side. It was Henry. Before I could react, Henry hooked his arm around mine. I shoved him away and screamed, "What are you smiling at me for?" "Remember, I thought we shared a nice moment," he said. I was shocked to realize just how delusional he was. I yelled back, "No, we didn't." Smiling, he said, "I like girls." I saw anger flicker in his eyes. He just muttered, "Fine, whatever," then stormed off. Before I continued walking home, I took a second to process what had just happened. I didn't tell my parents. After watching The Walking Dead, I just went to bed. I usually sleep with a window open for cross-ventilation. Around 3 in the morning, I heard a very faint sound. I have a guinea pig, so I'm used to noises, but this one sounded different. I instantly became alert. Slowly, I looked around and saw someone climbing through my bedroom window. The normal reaction should have been to scream, but I was too terrified. I froze in bed, stiff and cold like a mummy. When the person stopped and turned toward me, he stood still for a few seconds, staring. Then he suddenly rushed at me. Before I could scream, his hand clamped over my mouth. When I realized it was Henry, my blood ran cold. Luckily, my dad was still awake downstairs. He saw someone jump into the living room through the window. With a loud bang, he burst into my room, kicking the door open so hard that Henry went pale with fright. Henry tried to escape by jumping back out the window, but my dad grabbed him by the t-shirt and yanked him back. The police came and arrested Henry, cuffing him before taking him away. I hugged my mom tightly, holding back tears. I was terrified. I didn't know what he wanted, or even how he had found out my address. But I was sure he had followed me home. The next morning when I woke up, I called my best friend to tell them what had happened. They didn't answer. I wasn't too worried at first since they often overslept, so I decided I'd wait for them at school. But the whole day passed, and they never showed up. I tried calling again, but still no answer, thinking they might be sick. I decided to visit their house to check if everything was okay. When I got there, I knocked on the door, but no one answered. The truth about Sally. Her parents were away on a business trip, so she should have been home alone. I called her phone again. I could hear it ringing inside the house. I tried the door. It wasn't locked, so I stepped inside. I called her name loudly, certain she'd know where I was. But there was no response. I walked upstairs into her room, and what I saw filled me with shame and horror. She was lying unconscious on her bed. On the wall, someone had scrawled these words: "She's dead. You will be mine." I called her parents immediately. They phoned emergency services, and Sally was rushed to the hospital. The doctor said she had passed out from shock. My mind went straight to Henry. It had to be him. But then I remembered. He was still in police custody. 2 days later, when Sally was feeling a little better, she told the police what really happened. A guy from school named Zach had broken into her house with a knife, threatening to kill her. His behavior was completely deranged, and it terrified Sally so much that she fainted. I didn't know what his true intentions were. But Zach kept repeating one thing over and over: "I have to do this for my best friend." I promised Henry. Zach was eventually arrested and put in jail. It turned out he was Henry's accomplice. Investigators later discovered that Henry had been the mastermind all along. He had pressured Zach into carrying out the plan. Henry wanted me to be his girlfriend, but when I rejected him, he couldn't handle it. What made it even more terrifying was realizing how deeply Zach was obsessed with his friendship with Henry, so much so that he never considered the consequences before breaking into Sally's house. Sally and I eventually filed restraining orders against both Henry and Zach. Sadly, What they had done wasn't enough to keep them in prison forever. But given their mental instability and malicious intentions, I wouldn't be surprised if they both grew into truly dangerous criminals in the future.